Today, we're going to look at a classic tragedy through a completely new lens. You see, this isn't just a story about a monster. It's really a cautionary tale about a creator. We're going to deconstruct the fall of Victor Frankenstein, but not as some brilliant scientist. No, we're looking at him as an alchemist, whose greatest and most terrible creation was his own downfall. And this quote right here just cuts straight to the heart of it. This is the fatal flaw, the central mistake our alchemist, our Victor Frankenstein, made from the very beginning. He thought that just because you can make something, that you have the wisdom to nurture it. He had the power, yeah, but he had absolutely none of the responsibility that comes with it. So, to really frame this whole story, let's use a simple metaphor. Just picture this, a sculptor, totally obsessed with his own skill, right? His sharp chisel. He's carving into what he thinks is just a block of material, but it's living wood. And when it shows signs of life, when it actually bleeds, he's not filled with wonder. He's filled with pure horror. And what does he do? He runs, leaving behind this wounded thing that's going to grow into a thorny thicket. Just keep that image in your head as we go. Okay, to really understand this catastrophe, we have to start at the beginning. We have to look at the creator's own broken psychology. I mean, why did he even want to create life in the first place? Well, his ambition wasn't born from some noble, grand desire to help humanity. Not at all. It was actually a reaction to trauma. He was haunted by the death of his mother, totally driven by this unresolved grief. So his whole goal was to conquer death itself, but not with warmth or care or wisdom. No, he wanted to do it with a cold, sterile intellect. It was basically an attempt to bypass the natural feminine power of creation and just seize it all for himself. And this, right here, just brilliantly illustrates his core misunderstanding. He thought his intense drive, this will to power he felt, was the sign of a truly great creator. But the reality? It was something much, much smaller. All he had really achieved was technical dominance, the skill with the sculptor's chisel, but he completely missed what true greatness is, which requires empathy and care and taking responsibility. And now, we get to the pivotal moment. The work is done. Life sparks. And in this single instant, the creator makes a choice that seals not only his creation's fate, but his own too. Just imagine the scene. The being's very first act isn't one of malice or anger. It's an act of connection. It just opens its eyes and reaches out, looking for a hand to guide it. In that moment, it's a child seeking its parent. But what did the alchemist see when he looked back? Did he see a new life? A child in need? Nope. He saw something else entirely. Something that absolutely terrified him right down to his very core. And this brings us to a really key concept, the uncanny. Now, this isn't just about seeing something ugly or scary. The uncanny is that specific kind of horror you feel when you see something that is disturbingly familiar, something that feels like it came from inside of you. And that's exactly what he saw. He wasn't looking at some monster out there. He was looking in a mirror. The being was a physical manifestation of all his own dark parts, his ambition to play God, his repressed grief, that hidden rage he had at the world. He fled not from the creation, but from himself. So right there, he's standing at a crossroads. The hero's path would have been to face that reflection, right? To embrace the difficult struggle of compassion for this life he brought into the world. But instead, he chose the other path, the path of ethical cowardice. He ran. This choice actually frames him as what the philosopher Nietzsche called the last man. This isn't a hero striving for something more. This is a person so desperate for comfort and security that they'll avoid any real struggle, any great pain, even if that struggle is the very thing they need for growth. He chose his own comfort over compassion. And that single act of cowardly comfort-seeking unleashes a torrent of suffering. Now let's shift focus and look at what his flight did to the being he left behind. Because this abandonment, it wasn't just a neutral act. It was poison. The damage was immediate, and it was profound. By running, the creator denied his creation a point of origin, any sense of where it came from. He denied it safety. He inflicted this deep developmental wound at the most critical moment possible, leaving this brand new consciousness completely and utterly alone in a world it couldn't understand. And this is the absolute core of the tragedy. The being wasn't born evil. Its potential was actually innately benevolent. But its path to goodness, its path to virtue, was completely blocked by the giant wall of its creator's neglect. It wanted to be good, but it was never ever given the chance. And this curdled potential, it has a name: resentment. It's so much more than just anger. It's a deep, poisonous bitterness that grows from feeling powerless. When you can't do anything about the source of your pain, you start to hate not just your tormentor, but the entire world. The being's innate goodness soured into this vengeful hatred for all of humanity. So the story now turns back on its creator. Having unleashed this poisoned being upon the world, the alchemist's journey just spirals into its final self-destructive phase. He created a monster, sure, but now he's going to become one. To really understand his final downfall, we need to get this concept of Untergang. It basically means a descent, a going under. But here's the thing, not all descents are the same. A productive Untergang is like a hero's journey into the abyss, where they face their demons and come out stronger, forged into a higher state of being. A failed one? Well, that's just falling. There's no growth, just destruction. And for Victor, it was absolutely a failed Untergang. He never confronted his inner monster, he just chased its reflection all over the world. His descent wasn't some bridge to becoming something greater. No, it was just a long, agonizing fall into pure self-destruction. And here it is, the ultimate tragic irony of it all. In his obsessive hunt for the monster, he took on all of its worst qualities. He wasn't fueled by justice or responsibility. He was fueled by a monstrous self-pity and a burning hatred that perfectly mirrored the being's own resentment. In the end, you couldn't separate them. The creator and his abandoned creation became these twisted mirror images of each other. Each one's whole identity was just defined by hating the other, locked in this toxic, destructive dance across the ice, just pulling each other deeper and deeper into the abyss. And the conclusion? Well, it was inevitable. The creator wasn't struck down by some great external evil. He was simply consumed by the consequences of his own actions, drowned in the very flood that began with that single, cowardly act of neglect back in his laboratory. And so we're left with this question, aren't we? The alchemist's story is this timeless warning about creation without compassion. It forces us to ask, when we create something new, whether it's technology or art or just an idea, how do we make sure we don't end up just like him, completely consumed by our own shadow? Can a creator ever truly escape the consequences of what they bring into the world?